As the countdown to the mother of all protests in October 1st continues, many have been trying to discourage Nigerians from coming out in their numbers to participate in the protest. Just like they tried in the August protest, the current administration tried all they could to stop the protest. But in the end, people still trooped out in their numbers, especially in the north. This time around, voices that are trying to stop Nigerians from protesting surprisingly is coming from outside Nigeria. David Roberts is among the voices that are against the protest. He is a British national. When he was in Nigeria, he worked as the director of the British Council in Nigeria. In a statement that he released, he said that foreign interests might be behind the planned October protests. Speaking further, he said, quote, "In light of the wide use of Russian flags in the last days of August protests and taking this new revelation by the US Secretary of State, Nigeria ought to be very careful about the proposed October 1st protest. Nigeria should take more care and alert its citizens to the truth about such platforms and their agents. As many as those behind the protest are linked to Mr. Hundeyin and others from the African Stream Network, Nigeria only needs to look at what is happening in Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso to understand the peril they face." Unquote. The Hundeyin he referred to in his statement is the popular Nigerian investigative journalist David Hundeyin, but we'll come back to that in a moment. Let's not even go into details about his intention or why he is raising an alarm, but one question comes to mind. The suffering and hardship that Nigerians are going through today, will UK citizens tolerate it? No. In fact, if a quarter or even 10% of the high cost of living crisis Nigerians are facing today happens in the UK, they will be out on the streets protesting till their politicians do the right thing. In fact, their politicians will never allow their country to degenerate to this level because they know the implications. That's why they give out cash to their citizens and residents to go out and spend so as to revive the economy. Even Obama did it in the United States. When he was in power, he doled out cash, billions of dollars to their citizens to go out and spend. So they understand how the economy works. That's why they will never, even in the future, implement policies that will crash and impoverish their people. They won't do that. They know that more poverty comes with more crimes, more destabilization in the economy, in the country. There is strife everywhere. You don't see that in Western countries. So why, despite the fact that Nigerians are facing a crisis that they have never faced, even during the Great Depression in the US, they've never faced this kind of crisis, and they turn around and start telling Nigerians that they shouldn't come out to protest? Is Mr. Roberts going to advise the UK citizens, assuming they face 10% of the crisis Nigerians are facing, is he going to turn to them and tell them, foreigners or foreign interests will try to hijack the protest, as a result, they shouldn't come out to protest? These are scenes from the nationwide hunger protest back in August. Nigerians freely flew Russian flags. Whatever the Nigerian intelligence community and their foreign counterparts make of the flying of these flags, whether foreigners are sponsoring people to destabilize the country or not, now that they have the intelligence, why can't they use that intelligence to force the government to do something that will stop the impending protest in October? Isn't that common sense? After all, before the August protest, they were given 3 weeks or even more than that before the protest started. But the government still failed to do anything to appease protesters. And to show you that they are not even planning to appease anyone in this coming protest, they are not planning to yield to any demand. How much was petrol being sold before the August protest? It was around 600 naira per litre. Today, how much is petrol? It has gone from 600 to 800 to about 1,200 today. So the situation is worse than it was before the protest started in August. What are Nigerians expected to do? Granted that this didn't start from the current administration, Buhari contributed his own. He borrowed billions from abroad. He printed 25 trillion naira. And this current administration is aware of all that because they have blamed Buhari for causing all the problems. But what did they do? Because they knew that he has already borrowed a lot of money, that debt servicing was getting too high, almost at about 90% of the revenue. So what were they expected to do? They were expected to at least reduce the government expenditure. Instead, the current administration has printed more than 10 trillion naira already. Buhari printed 25 trillion in 8 years, and in less than 2 years, they've already printed 10 trillion naira. So they will beat him in under 4 years. Yes. So despite all that happened under Buhari, petrol price was still 185 naira per litre by the time he left office. When he came to power, petrol was being sold for 87 naira per litre. He took it to 185. Now the current administration first took it to 600 and something naira or thereabout. Today, it is being sold for more than 1,300 or even 400, depending on where you live in Nigeria. So you see where the problem lies. They made an already bad situation worse in an effort to increase revenue, because debt servicing was eating almost 90% of the revenue, like already said. They had to increase the price of petrol. Not just that, they've also floated the naira, which effectively devalued it by more than 200%. They didn't stop here, they also increased taxes. They even brought back the cybersecurity levy after Nigerians protested the last time, which forced them to withdraw it. But now it is back there. Banks are charging the 0.05%. So all that they did diminished the purchasing power of Nigerians. On top of all that, they are still taxing them. How are they going to pay? You can't tax poor people that are already down, and you are still taxing them. Where are they going to get the money to pay for the taxes? So when Nigerians come out to protest, it means that they have been pushed to the wall. They can no longer endure. And this time around, just like during the August protest, they still gave the government a lot of time to address these issues. If some of these issues are addressed, they yield to some of the demands, there won't be any protest on October 1st. That's how it works. Fearmongering will not put food on the table of Nigerians. They are desperately hungry, and a hungry man is an angry man. And why foreign flags were flown during the protests in August can be seen in the same light. It's born out of frustration. People that have called for the military to take over power from the civilians. It shows you how frustrated they are. They have lost confidence in the current administration. It's as if they came with one mission in mind: to impoverish Nigerians. How in the world are they implementing all these harsh policies, all of them at the same time? This cannot happen. It will never be tolerated in any Western country. No. So they should help themselves. Let them push that advice to the right quarters. Let them stop fearmongering Nigerians, telling them not to come out to protest, when they know they can't give the same advice to their countrymen, assuming they find themselves in the same situation. So they won't do anything to stop the protests, just like they did during the August protests, because they know they have the police, the army, and other security agents that will use brute force to stop peaceful protesters. They've tried hard to criminalize protests, but protest is a fundamental human right in a democracy. Citizens use protests to express their grievances and disagreement with government policies. No one truly wants to destroy his country or destabilize everywhere. People are simply tired of the situation. They are helpless. They are seeking for help, and anyone that finds himself in such a situation can do desperate things in order to survive. And no responsible government should wait for things to degenerate to this level. They should make sure that things never get bad to this level, so as to maintain the stability of the country. Now, let's see why Mr. Roberts talked about David Hundeyin. Remember a few days ago, the US Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, talked about African Stream, a blog that is popular on Facebook and Instagram. He said the blog is backed by Russians, that it is a Russian front. And as a result, Facebook banned them both on Instagram and Facebook. And somehow they are trying to link African Stream to David Hundeyin, including many protesters who were active during the August protest. But David Hundeyin has debunked all that in a recent interview he granted. The truth of the matter is that Nigerians are nice people. Forget about Russian flags or other foreign flags they flew during the protest. They should just fight poverty and the hardship sweeping the land. All foreign countries are not your friends. They can never be. They always put their interest ahead of yours. Yes, and they work with collaborators here. If people are not willing to collaborate with them, they will never have any influence in Africa or in Nigeria. That's how it works. And people shouldn't hate them for it. Rather, they should admire them because they take the interest of their countries very, very seriously. Unlike African leaders who don't care, they can sign any agreement provided that their own interest, that their selfish interest is covered. There's nothing like national interest in their dictionary. Thanks for watching.